Basically, what I'm saying is I would rather have Sukuna back than Gojo back. The tomatoes are probably being thrown right about now.
領域展開
This is not a chapter 269 review. I will be touching on some like points about chapter 269, but this is not a review, but there are spoilers for 269. Keep that in mind and enjoy. Bro, it's a look, click that little button right there. It ain't gonna hurt you. Click that little button right there. I'm gonna be 100 with you. I'm not really like a lot of these other channels or Twitter accounts, X accounts, whatever you want to call it, that are jumping ship. JJK is my favorite series as it stands, or as it always stood. A handful of chapters, even at the end, isn't going to change that. Gege has already repaid my investment of time into the series that I took to read it. So, and it's been that way for a while. So these chapters won't ruin that. Yeah, sure, it's a blemish on the series as a whole, but Naruto's not perfect. Even the golden boy of anime, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, had its issues at the last and final fight. Sure, people say there's a lot of plot points that are, just left hanging. I'm not even hating on anyone that feels there's a lot of, unresolved plot points. I get it. Most of the things that people say that are unresolved plot points would be cool and fun to see, and I would love reading about it too, but it doesn't mean that it directly correlates to the actual narrative and plot of the story. A lot of people are talking about 269 and the issues that it's just that chapter should have happened 50 or 100 chapters ago, whatever it may be. I've seen some crazy takes, and I don't love this chapter either. That's dead ass how I feel, but it still answered like certain questions. And Gege covered his tracks with the whole why didn't Higuruma have the recorder, giving details after the fight as to why certain mechanics worked in the fight or why they didn't work or didn't happen. After the fight, rarely does that ever work out in a positive way. I think it's a 6 out of 10 chapter, if I'm being real. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's like, for where it's placed as not the best, for what it introduces or necessarily what it resolves, doesn't really resonate with me. We moved on from Sukuna fairly quick. That is an issue I have with it, but I think Sukuna in a vacuum stayed true to himself at the end. Yeah, sure, he did recognize Yuji by name, but I mean, Yuji's the main character. That's an allowance I can give him. It's not like he was sniveling back to Yuji in order to become one with him again until he can try and take over, and Yuji just being like, okay, I accept that and I'll win you over, time, like Naruto or Kurama or something. That would have been an assassination of character. And here's a hot take for another topic of assassination of character, right? Satoru Gojo, if he came back, that is an assassination of his character. I'm sorry, Gojo fans. With everything presented in the story for Gojo, it just seems like he wanted to go out that way. I mean, his words verbatim, but he died smiling with no regrets. That is a blessing in the world of Jujutsu. They're stuck in this cycle of being, the exception, and the exception isn't always a good thing. They might not be bound by right or wrong, but they're bound by cursed energy, which is way more toxic, and it's almost a guaranteed life of dying young. Yuji offering Sukuna to go back into his body and become one, and that he'll live with him, even no one else will. That great writing that so many people held up in high regard and, was glazing. A lot of them are the same people that are complaining about Yuji doing that, but that is within Yuji's writing of valuing all life, giving him a chance that he was never given, even though Sukuna threw it away himself by his own greed and his own needs. Selfish, hedonistic Sukuna, but Sukuna stayed the same to the end. That is fine. That makes JJK passable. I mean, in a sense of, it's still my favorite series. I love JJK, and I'll still talk about JJK as much as I do. Nothing's gonna change that. This ending wasn't like Tokyo Revengers level for me. Like, Tokyo Revengers was an 8.5 from chapter 1 to chapter 202. It went down to a 4, just because of the last 70 chapters. Gege's last 70 chapters, by the way, it's going to end at 271, I think, right? That is the Kenjaku and Yuki fight. But 3 of like Gege's uncontested top 5 chapters has been in the last 70, been in the last 40. Gojo's return was clutch. 214 was clutch. 212 was huge. I mean, 236 is massive. And then from there, we still have 251 was a banger chapter. 259, I believe that's the Fuga. 265, 266. And the Yorozu fight was fun. The Gojo fight was one of the best fights ever. We got all this at the end. So the last 5 or 6 chapters aren't hitting for you, even though we've gotten legit great quality from hidden inventory till I say 266. And Gege's best character moments have came at the back end of the story. Everyone's favorite chapter is within the last 60 chapters. We're going to look back at this and we're going to talk about, and especially the people that are maybe overreacting a little bit, we're going to see a lot of people like, oh, you should have been there. There's people being very dramatic, da 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 da. They're hella hard on it, but they're going to look back and enjoy the series. Not only that, they're going to act like they were on the right side of history. I see it all the time. And you could call this cope or glaze. I really don't care. JJK is an 8 out of 10 for me. It could still go down, to be fair. It could still go up, though. But I'm thinking right now, saying JJK is an 8 out of 10. My favorite series, I rate it as least amount of bias as I could. That's me rating it. You know, Kenjaku's curse technique, the way Yuta got back to his body, you know, Bara's waking up time, just the execution of the timeline from the beginning of the Gojo fight to the end. I think the author's intent here was always that Yuki was separated from Jujutsu Society. She didn't want no part of it. She didn't take part of it. You know, she traveled, she did her own research. But we want to include her in what's going on with Jujutsu Society, or that's what people want. They want interactions with Todo. I get that. And it could have happened, but I don't have an issue that it didn't happen. Whatever it may be, none of that scaled in comparison to what I received. I read these series and I talk about them based on my own time with the IP. And I suggest you guys do that. Remember, when you're rating something or talking about something, weighing your feelings on how you feel about a series, a chapter, what it may be, remember, your time with that story is between you and the author when you're reading it. The outside discourse doesn't matter, and it rarely ever amounts to much anyway, because it's your quality time, it's your enjoyment. No one can affect your enjoyment. I just wanted to talk about JJK because this might be the last time I talk about it for a month. I might take a month break, try and decide what I'm going to do with the channel, where I'm going to go with it. I got the Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi video that's dropped about 2 days ago. I actually have a sponsor type video from this gentleman named Eddie, who hit me up on Twitter to review his story, Junkwoods. That's going to come out next week. Please check that video out because I think you guys will like it. There's some things I want to point out, and I'm going to be objectively real about it and rate it how I truly feel. But I mean, you'll be able to tell just from first look, the presentation art are really top notch. And this video isn't sponsored. I'm just being completely honest with you guys, and he's a good dude and he's been very upfront with me. And I've tried to do that with him, and I want to deliver the best product, and I really want you guys to check it out. I'm going to drop his link in the description below for the website. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but it's more just about my feelings, and it's frustrating seeing Gege get so much hate, but at the same time, it's also I can understand why those people feel that way. Try to see with a bit of foresight that you may feel differently about this, so don't be too hard or don't be too explicit with the words you're using or how you're reviewing something that you claimed you once loved. You know, it's once you burn a bridge, it's hard to go back, and people will remind you. I do appreciate everybody. I'm close to 1,000 subs. I truly never thought I'd even get close to that, and that's not even a big number. I know people would kill to get that number, so I'm very thankful and blessed. You know, I bust my ass for this. And I have seen a jump in quality in my videos. I hope you have too. And as long as I'm making good interactions with people, and I've met a lot of cool people since I did this, that's the most important thing to me. I want to eventually build my own community. And as long as I can keep doing that and having good conversations with you guys, I'll keep making content. That's what it's about for me. But check out the new videos. Kiyoshi, the Junk Wiz review. Thanks, guys. Until next time, stay normie, stay weeb. Shit, even in between is fine. Until next time, peace. It's so hard to look at the camera.